welcome back to another episode of Itchy Soul Live, the podcast that is recorded live most weekdays at 2 p.m. on the Facebook page, itchysoul.com, no, not itchysoul.com, facebook.com/Itchy Soul Playground, if you're a podcast listener who wants to come and join us live. So you can be a part of the live studio audience and get a shout out, which is quite fun. But thank you for joining me again. If you've been listening in, you might have noticed that we didn't have any episodes. I say they're weekday-ish. We didn't have any episodes at the end of last week because I hit a wall. I got to be honest, Friday afternoon, really tired. I slept for hours over the weekend. I thought I might have been coming down with the plague. Monday, I'm not going to be too shy about telling you, Monday I was a right mess. I think it was my lowest ebb of this current season. I felt sick, I was tired, I couldn't stop crying, I was fine and then I wasn't. It was a real wall, hit a wall and didn't feel great. Now, why am I telling you this? The whole purpose of today's episode, the nudge that I got from God to share with you, is this reminder that everybody, well, there's a couple of pieces to it. Piece number one, everybody will have times throughout this particular season where they're not doing so good. So if you're having a day today where things feel great, the reminder I have for you, which I've said before, is enjoy that feeling. However, if at the moment you're kind of struggling a little bit, maybe you're a bit like, this whole lockdown thing, I've had enough, I just want normal life to resume, please, and pronto. Know that it's not just you. The other piece of it is I'm recording this episode in my pajamas because looking out the window, it's not actually raining right now. But when I got up this morning, we had rain forecast for the entire day. And there's 5 of us here. There's an awful lot of washing. I had a shower. I got up. I thought, you know what? I'm going to put my pajamas back on. And so I did. Now, why am I telling you this? You wouldn't know unless I told you, because I like to think this is quite a nice top. Unless, of course, you knew my pajama collection, and then you would know that it was pajamas. My point is this, it's really easy to look around and think that everybody else has got this life thing so sorted. We think that everybody else around us is, well, hey, they're doing fantastically, or maybe they're expressing a little bit of their frustration with this current season, but ultimately they're A-okay. And then you compare that with you on a day when you're really not feeling like it's amazing, and you get into this sort of state of angst. I am recording this episode in my pajamas today and calling myself out for recording this episode in my pajamas by way of illustration. What you see is not always what's the expression? Things are not always what they seem. So yes, I'm using this as an example, pajamas. And I like to say that the leggings part of my pajamas are stripy and really quite funky. And I could get away with walking in the dogs in them. And I did earlier on. And one lady complimented me on my really fun leggings. Nobody knows unless you tell them, which is great. We get to be in our pajamas. But it's not so great when everybody else looks like they're doing brilliantly and then you're struggling. That's the first part of this. But I did also promise you as well, I was going to share with you a little bit of brain science that could help you deal with those days when you're struggling with comparisonitis. And the really fun thing was this reminder came up while I was outside walking the dogs in my pajamas. So I went round, there's a big pond. I call it a lake, but apparently it's not a lake, it's just a big pond. Because those of you who, if you're listening from Canada and you were to see this pond, you'd be like, call that a lake? That's not a lake, that's a little tiny bit of water. Anyway, I was walking around with the dogs around this stretch of water. Came around the corner, and there's a bit where the path sort of edges around in a sort of bit. But there's also a cut through. And for some reason today, mostly because there was somebody coming in the opposite direction and, social distancing and all, I have this thing, I don't know, I'm sure it's not just me, it really bugs me that we have to sort of treat each other like lepers. And we have to, you're walking along the path and then someone's coming towards you and they walk around the outside on the cars. And you're thankful that they're doing it because it means that you haven't had to do it. And I understand why we're doing it, but it still leaves me feeling a bit, I wish we didn't have to do that. So in a bid not to have to do this little dance of who's going to go which way, I cut across the grass. What's quite interesting is this little cut across the grass is being walked on so many times now, it's like a proper path. There's no gravel on it, it's just earth, but it's been compacted down by lots and lots of feet walking across it multiple times. We've lived here for nearly 18 years now. It wasn't like that when we moved in here 18 years ago. And it wasn't like that. I don't even remember noticing it even 3 years ago. So over a really relatively short amount of time, this little tiny cut through has become like a proper path. Now, what does this have to do with your brain? This has everything to do with your brain because it reminded me of this fascinating part of brain science called neuroplasticity. And I quite often struggle to say that word correctly. It's to do with the pathways that are laid in your brain. And once upon a time, a long time ago, the clever scientists thought that our brains were fixed, that the pathways were laid down and what you got, that was your lot. New research, relatively new research, I mean it's not this year, relatively new research has said actually that's not true. We can train our brains. It reminds me of 2 Corinthians, I want to say 15. There's a Bible verse where it talks about taking every thought captive. We can choose which pathways we're going to allow our feet to walk on, metaphorically speaking, in our brains. So those days when you're struggling and you're feeling a bit like, oh, everybody else has like got this life thing sorted, I'm just really having a really awful day today. Yes, you can acknowledge that feeling, but then I would encourage you to start thinking, okay, well, but at least it, my 3-word hack that I've shared with you before, help you find that silver lining. Start laying down a different pathway, because the reality is that even when everybody else looks like they've got this life thing sorted, it's just not true. It's an illusion. I'm here in my pajamas as by way of demonstration. We show up here and we do these things, and I could have put it's behind me actually, I'm sitting on it. I could have put my multicoloured poncho on over top of my pajamas, and people who are watching rather than listening, podcast listeners, you're going to miss out on this, but but people who are watching rather than listening, they wouldn't see any difference. I'd have my multicoloured poncho on, I'd look like any other day. I purposely chose not to do that today by way of illustration. It's an illusion. We all have days where things feel a bit ugh. We all have days that feel great, and we have days that are somewhere in between. Sometimes we share those days. Now, I've written a few posts on Facebook, for example, when I missed my mum, and I know some people who watch this will have seen that post. I did that on purpose, and I said that in the post at the time. I wanted to be transparent about those days when things were feeling rough. Other days I haven't posted about it. I didn't tell anybody on Facebook that I hit a wall on Monday because I was just feeling too miserable and fed up about it all. It's only afterwards when I'm then sharing it with you. But that doesn't mean just because I didn't talk about it at the time that it didn't happen. And the same is true for you as well. So if you're having a day where things feel difficult, know that it's not just you. And I know I've said this before, and I'm sure it won't be the last time I say this. It's a different season right now. That's the reason why we're doing this season in the podcast this way, by way of demonstration, actually living out real life. It is an unusual season. It's not what anybody anticipated, but the reminder is you need to keep on being kind to yourself. If you're having a day when you're not feeling brilliant, don't allow yourself to go down the route of, oh, it's just me, I'm the only one that ever feels like this, look at everybody else. No, instead, I would encourage you to go that 2 Corinthians 15. I will check if that's the right Bible verse afterwards and put it in the comments, where it talks about taking every thought captive. God helping you. That's the other reminder as well. You don't have to do this on your own. Little plug for the playground. I like to say, good morning, Linda. I like to say that that's one of the benefits of the playground is we do this in community. And I would encourage you, if you're somebody that does struggle maybe with this comparisonitis piece, find yourself community. You don't have to play on your own. And so, God helping you, you can choose to take every thought captive. You can look at it. Imagine for a minute that you're actually going to pick up and hold this in your hand and go, okay, now this is what my mind is coming up with right now. What's the truth behind this? Is this actually the reality? What do I want to do with this? And the actual act of taking it and imagining that you're holding this as a ball of thought in your hand and almost taking a step back from it, it makes it easier for you to go, no, it really isn't just me. Other people do have times like this too. And by consciously taking every thought captive, running it through that process, you're laying down those new pathways, like that pathway that I talked about at the start of this, that I saw when we were out walking the dogs. Your brain isn't fixed. You can lay down new pathways. And all of it, of course, God helping you. You don't have to do it on your own. So that's my encouragement for you today. I hope that you don't need that reminder. I hope that today you're having a wonderful day. But if you are having a wonderful day today, remember, enjoy it. Notice how it feels in your body and just enjoy that feeling. I will not be shy about telling you yesterday, when I woke up yesterday, I didn't feel tired and sick and fed up and miserable. It was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. I love it. It's good to feel those feelings because you're going to have ups and downs. There's going to be good days and bad days and in between days. So if you are having a really good day, embrace that. Enjoy it. Notice where it feels good and run with that. That said, if today or tomorrow at some point you have a bit of a day, and it might not even be a day. It might just be, you might have, this happened to me, I think last week or the week before. I was going along quite happily, and then one little thing just triggered it right at the end of the day and set me off down in a bit of a spin briefly. I mean, I do enough of this work that thankfully the ugh doesn't last too long, which I think is probably one of the reasons why I was just so fed up on Monday after spending the whole weekend being tired. I still don't know if I had the plague. Who knows? But if I did have the plague, then and means it's over and done with, then at least it means it's, you know, it wasn't as I had a mild dose of it. I don't know. But that's one of the reasons why I was so like fed up on Monday. It's because usually I do a really good job of sort of okay, feeling the feelings and getting back up again. But know that if you are having a difficult day or a difficult moment in an otherwise lovely day, this too shall pass. And I know that sounds really trite when you've got me saying that, sitting here having a good day with a smile on my face, yeah, okay, fine, Elle, whatever. If someone had said to me on Monday, don't worry, Elle, this too will pass, I wouldn't have smacked them. I would have believed them actually. But I'd have been a bit like, yeah, okay, I know. But my hope is that by acknowledging that, yes, I know it sounds a bit empty, but it is also true, that will help you to hear it at least. So remember, quick recap for you. And if there's people who've joined us towards the end, you can go back and hear all the stories and stuff. But remember, if you're having a moment where it looks like everybody else has got it together and you're the only one who's like having a ugh, it's not just you. Number two, practice laying down those new pathways so that you can have a better day. And I've just been joined by my eldest daughter wearing my husband's jacket, and she looks all puffed up. So are you going to come and join us and show everybody? No, you're not. Lovely. I think that's the moment where we're going to end today's episode. You walked in as if like you were a zombie. But yeah, okay. On that note, and that's the reminder as well, of course, is find the daft things that make you smile because they're entertaining and they help lift you. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to catching up with you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.